Coach Tomsula. It's been a while, Coach. How you doing?
Doing great, man. How the heck are you doing? I hope everybody down there is doing great.
Yeah, we're fine, man. We're really good, actually. Yeah, so um, as you know, I've started this podcast, and I'm just loving every minute of it because I'm so basically reaching out to friends I haven't seen for a while and people I know and all that kind of stuff. So, and it's only just, yeah. Um,
Well,
should you
John,
have,
look, I'm thanks a lot for having me on. I was excited as heck to hear from you, and excited to talk a little ball and catch up.
look
I hear a lot
the
about football down there and the coaches and everything going on. So this is exciting for me.
Coach, I'm so happy to have you on. It's unbelievable because so just for a minute there, Coach Jim Tomsula coached Catawba College. That's when I first met you. We talked about that. You coached in the NFL Europe, and you coached in the NFL, position coach, head coach with the 49ers. 49ers is, the team that I rooted for as a kid starting to play this game. I couldn't believe it. I was so freaking proud of you, man. It's like unbelievable. So I think, Jim Tomsula, and especially for a crowd who's been in football in Europe for a while, you are one of these people who impacted football in Europe quite a bit. So part of that, we'll talk about today and talk about your current job in the Alf League, as I call the Rhein Fire, back home at Rhein Fire, I should say. So before we start here, and this is a good question I really enjoy as well, is can you remember when we met for the first time, Coach?
I think that was you were with Amsterdam,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember meeting you in Florida on a practice field the first time we were introduced, and then I remember I remember us having a beer together, and I thought it was by a swimming pool, and I can't remember. It might have been at that complex, but that's what I remember.
Yeah.
And just talking it up, and you were talking about Amsterdam and all that stuff, and then I found out. Then I was trying to figure out, okay, Australia, Amsterdam, how does this go? So that's what I remember. And again, my memory is not too good.
No, that's why it's such a good question to ask, because it's for everybody. It's like, all right, what do you remember? What I remember?
What do you remember?
Yeah. So here's what I remember is I remember something what you said when I was in Amsterdam in 2001, but we actually met before that. Now I would be great if you remember that. I think it was, so there's parts that I remember, there's parts that I don't remember. Some of the details is that it was in 98 or 99 when you were in Scotland. And I did an internship with another Dutch guide where I was living at the time, right? And we did an internship with the Admirals, with Coach Luganbill. And we walking somewhere at an airport to the gate. And you were there with Coach Kent. You were standing there together. And you guys looked at us two guys, and you guys came over. It's like, you must be two football guys. And like, we just blown away. He's like, hey, I'm Jim, I'm Rich. And we got a talking briefly. Yeah, we're going to training camp, blah, blah, blah. And it was, yeah. Yeah, that was the first thing I remember.
Dadgummit, John, I can't remember it.
No,
you know what? Richard's here. I'm going to ask Richard.
Rich has a good memory now.
Well, Richard will remember.
Yeah.
Okay. He'll remember.
Yeah.
Hell, when I was in Scotland, man, I was running around trying to figure out where I was going next.
Because like in the NFL Europe, you were with the London Monarchs, Scottish Claymores, Berlin Thunder, and Rhein Fire. Am I missing a team?
Yes. No, that's it.
That's it, right? Yeah.
And then I got to work with you guys with the international player programs.
Yeah.
Which to me was a huge part of the whole thing.
Yeah. Look, and that's where I got to work with you the most with the international program. Training camp, here or there in Florida, but also in Europe where you would come over. And I remember one, I think it was the last one we ever did. Remember how we scooped the snow off the field?
Yeah, that was down in Cologne.
In
We were
Cologne,
out
yeah.
there with shovels, shoveling the field.
Yeah, the step over bags. I think you can look. Let's use the step over bags to scrape.
We were pushing the snow with the step over bags. And I'll tell you what was funny about that was that was Art Shell. If everybody, I don't know if everybody remembers Art Shell, but Art Shell is a Hall of Fame offensive lineman for the Oakland Raiders, was the first black head coach in the National Football League for the Oakland Raiders, and went back and was the head coach again. So he was the head coach in Oakland twice. But Art Shell is a Hall of Famer, and Art had taken over the NFL Europe, and he was managing everything. And that was his first combine. And Art came over there. Now, again, you're talking about an NFL guy, all NFL. And now he comes over. He's going to look at some talent. And he came out and saw all of us put Art Shell, Hall of Famer, picked up a shovel, and he was helping shovel that snow. And when it was over, Art fell in love with it. Just the purity of it, that everybody, coaches, players, guys who were going to work out, everybody's out there pushing snow off the field. Everybody was working together. And it was one of the things that I always fell in love with when I came to Europe the first, the purity of it, the togetherness.
Yeah. Look, I remember this was 2006. I'm pretty sure this was the last camp we had in Europe. They pulled the plug in after the 2007 season.
It had to be, because that was my last year, because then I left.
There you go.
And they played one more season.
Yeah. And so I remember, we had the evaluations. We had to defend the evaluation. Art Shell was there, and a couple other NFL hobnobbers. They were grilling everybody. Man, we need the next best thing, man. We need to you need to find these guys for us. And but that's where I firsthand sort of started working with you, and the passion for the game. That was you like ooze the passion and the intensity. And I remember you talking to the defense in that camp or another camp. I can't remember exactly which one, but it was about, block destruction, how you get your hands on the chest, and you man, you were getting into it, and everybody got excited. And that's your passion for the international game, right? And that's why I feel so, it's so good that you're back in Europe. I wish or hope that if you want to, that you have a much longer NFL career, but for the game in Europe, it's so good to have you, because
John, it was always our dream, my wife and I, to come back to Europe. Cool. Look, I'm very fortunate. Let's face it. Okay. We all worked hard. We all have passion for the game. We all made sacrifices to be in the game. Our wives and our families made sacrifices for us to be in the game. So, but then for whatever reason, I get an opportunity to go into the National Football League, which is an honor. I don't want to make that any less than it is. It was an honor. But it changed my family's life financially. Okay. Obviously there's a lot of money in professional sports. So it did. And I'm very grateful. My family's very grateful for that. But the purity of coaching, it moves more to business, and decisions are made in the front offices and things like that. It's a business, and you can't separate that. Okay. Yeah. That's the way it is. But, so my wife and I, we saved all our money. When we moved to San Francisco, we moved into a house. When we left San Francisco, we were still in the same house. We didn't buy any cars. We didn't buy a house. We rented a house. and it was not a big house. It was a nice little house. And coming out of Europe and coming from small college and high school and Pee Wee League, which I had coached those things, you pay attention to your dollars, okay? And I lost you here. Hold on, technical difficulty.
All right, I'll still see you. Can
All right.
you hear me?
All right, I'm sorry. There it is.
All right, cool.
So anyway, we always dreamed of going back to Europe. That was always the goal. That was always what we wanted to do. The entire time we were in the Europe League, one of the things that my wife and I would talk about in the evenings is, it was like in the NFL Europe, they moved an American bubble and placed it in Europe. Every team was an American bubble. So then when it was over, all they did was take the bubbles. And that, the thought process for me anyway was if we're going to do this the right way, if we're going to promote this great game, we need to do it with homegrown people. We need if we're in Germany, we need German coaches. We need German players. And that means starting with the developmental stages. That means the young kids being involved, the flag teams, and getting into the contact stuff and teaching kids the proper way to play, because football can be a fairly safe game if it's taught correctly, and not using your head as a weapon. The only reason you wear a helmet is to protect your brain. You don't use your helmet as a tool to tackle. It's totally for protection. So, body position, all those kind of things. So that was the thought process. And it was just our dream to come back to Europe and be involved and try to help in that way. And obviously right now you're not going to do that and make a living. It's
different.
not a full-time job. Okay. So the first goal is to get over here and not have to depend on making a paycheck. So that's what the NFL has afforded us. We've had some opportunities to go back to the NFL and don't want it.
Right.
Want to stay right where we're at. And last couple of years, and people think I'm a little bit crazy. How in the hell can you turn down that job or that kind of money? Well, because we saved our other money. Now, and again, from where we come from, I can pay the rent, and we can eat our food, and we can take a vacation every year. We can put the kids into college and get university, and we're never going to own an airplane, but that's fine. I don't really want to own an airplane. So we've been fortunate to be in a place so we can do this. So my wife is over here now. We have a son since you and I last met.
Because I remember two girls.
Yeah, the two girls. One's 30. She's a teacher, and she's an artist. She actually went back and went to school in Italy and graduated from the Art Institute in San Francisco, or the Art University at San Francisco. And our second daughter, Brooke, that was Brittany, and then Brooke, the second daughter, our younger daughter, actually went to school in Lake Lugano University in Lake Lugano, Switzerland. Jeez. And then came back to the States. Now she is a Navy airman, and she's flying all over the place in the United States Navy, and we're terribly proud of the girls. Wow. And then when we went to San Francisco, we had a son, and we have a son named Bear. And cool. So now he gets to come over and live in Europe, live in Germany, and experience the different cultures. And so for our family, it's a dream come true. And now you're here. And the great thing about the football here, and I'm sure it's in Australia, it's the purity. It's pure. People are doing it because they really do love it, Yeah. And the one thing that I keep talking about with football, American football, is there's a place for everybody in American football. Okay. There's a place for somebody that's not blessed with a lot of athletic ability. They can help with equipment. They can help with video. If you're an IT person and you like computers, you can help with analytics. And If you're in a physio, you can help in physio. And then you get to the athletes on the field, then your bigger guys that maybe don't run as fast to play soccer or play other sports. There's a place for them in football. So we have a place for everyone in football, every male, female, white, black, gay, straight. It doesn't matter. All right, Muslim, Catholic, non-believer. None of that matters when you come into a football locker room. When you become part of an American football family, nobody cares about any of that. And it's one of the most beautiful places. And when the years that I've taken off, that's what I miss. I don't miss the X's and O's. I miss that feeling. I miss this, talking to an old football guy. Okay, you're doing this because you love it. You're a smart man. You could be out doing something else, making a lot more money. I know that.
Yeah. I coach a local team here, and I actually sent him a little video early today saying, man, look, the off season has been way too long. We need to get going, man. We need to do something. We need to get going, So, but what you tell me, about your passion for the game, that's what I saw those so many years ago. You just have a passion for the international game. You care for the guys that you coach, all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't surprise me when you say, look, we'd love to be here in Europe, so, but if you look at those things, right? So coaching in the NFL, here's one. It's like, I have never had a one-on-one with a former NFL head coach before. So this is nice. This is a good one.
This is two old friends talking, dude.
Yeah.
You can take all that other and flush it down the toilet.
Yeah. So, but now, so you said the purity. We all understand that the NFL is a huge business, lots of money, all that kind of stuff. Is there a difference when you coach him on a training camp? Like on the weekend, Rhein Fire, you have 70 guys on the field, and you got to kick their ass, every so 5 minutes or whatever. Do you do that in the NFL just as much as you do that in the Elf League, or can you explain the differences or the similarities a little bit?
Well, I guess the best way that I can explain to you the coaching, the fundamentals of football are the fundamentals of football.
Yeah.
In my mind, anyway. I don't speak for anybody else but me. So when I went to the San Francisco 49ers, I was a defensive line coach. And I had a guy in that room. His name's Bryant Young. He was still playing. Bryant Young last year was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Okay. So I walked in there, and Bryant Young was about in his 10th year. And we went in, and the other guys were there. I use his name just because he was later in his career and obviously was at the top of the game. So I walked in, and the first video that anybody saw was my individual periods from NFL Europe. So I showed my NFL Europe tape to a guy that's in the NFL Hall of Fame and all those players. And those tapes from individual period from NFL Europe are on the first part of all of my drill work tapes. So it's the exact same drills. I still make in the NFL. They could have bought me $10,000 coops, and I've got those. I call them chicken coops.
Yeah, remember.
I still go and make my own out of PVC pipe. I make them every year myself, and all my players. The same drills we did then, we're still doing. They're fundamental drills. I call them everyday drills. So all those things are the same. Where it gets a little bit different is now you're talking about in the National Football League, you're talking about the top 1% of athletes in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. So the things that these guys can do with their bodies is it's genetic. There's a lot of genetic, and not only that, but there's a mindset. The the level of competition that's in these guys. I can take a room full of millionaires, and I can take a penny, 1 pence, and I can put it on the other side of the locker room on the floor. And I can tell everybody in that room, we're going to have a race, and whoever gets the penny, I will call champion. They will fight and kill each other to get that penny.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something that's in them that I always admired, and it was remarkable to me. So some of the things that they'll do athletically, that changes. You can go a little bit further on some of the things you're doing because they can do that athletically, and the reactions are so fast. So that's where it kind of changes. But the fundamentals of the game and everything else, it's the same.
Yeah, yeah, so coaching points and how you talk, coach, teach. Is that any different in the NFL?
No. John, you know me. I am who I am.
Sure. Yeah.
So I can't. I'm not going to fake it. I'm not going to try to fake it. I'll give you everything I got, but this is who I am, and this is the way I'm going to do it. It's the way we're going to approach it. Now, I don't believe in embarrassing players. I don't believe in attacking players. Now, I will attack a problem. So if a player has a bad step, I may use a lot of foul language and attack the bad step, but I'm not going to attack the person. So that's kind of my thought process on that stuff.
You still use the rubber bands to get the hands?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I lay them over there after they're done with them. I lay them over there on the ground every day so everybody can see them. So if your elbows come out, just know you're going back to the bands.
Nice. Yep. Yeah. So nothing has changed.
No.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Those guys, when I went to the NFL football field and built those chicken coops and came walking in with those chicken coops, and they want to know where the hell I got them. And then why the hell are you making them? I said, because I like to make them and they're mine, and I do it my way. And then they wanted to know, what the hell are these rubber bands? What the hell are you doing? And I got guys walking around with their elbows tied together, and I got people looking at me like I was, who the hell is this guy? What the hell is he doing? But it's fundamentals.
Yeah. Going back to that a little bit, because you said, look, you had some opportunities, and you said, no, we're good where we're at, and all that kind of stuff. And again, also, this doesn't surprise me, because if I look at those teams that you coached over the years in the NFL, you have always had high performing defensive lines. Now, like you said, there is a part where, things that, how it doesn't matter how good a teacher you are, you don't have to teach it because that's genetics, right? But you've always had a very high functioning defensive line. Is there any stats that you motivate your guys from year to year with, going from team to teams? Like, look, this is what we did last year when we were in, Washington or stuff like that.
No, other than drill tape, I don't watch a lot of game tape from other players, and I know people do. But what I try to do is I try to have drill work of players. Some of them, obviously, it starts off with NFL Europe guys, so they're watching Robert Flickinger and Tom Tovo do drills. Okay, and those guys are household names to us, but they're not household names in American football in the USA. But so I try to teach. I try to use the players that have done it right and show that film and show how to do that. And most of it comes to the movements. And again, the fundamental. It all boils down to the fundamentals to me. So I'll use those tapes and I'll show people that. Now, obviously, there's some Justin Smiths on there, Bryant Young's on there. There's some pretty good football, but Alden Smith's on there. Patrick Willis is on there. So you've got guys that have been at the top that are on those tapes. But I don't want players to try to emulate someone else.
Yeah.
My goal as a coach is to take each player. I will teach a fundamental drill to 6 players. I just went through this here with our D line. I'm going to teach 6 guys, and I have to have a starting point. So I'm going to teach them how to do this fundamentally. And by the end of it, each one of them is going to do it a little different. Because, and I'm a Catholic kid, okay? So I refer to God. God doesn't make any mistakes. So if God doesn't make any mistakes, we're all perfect in our own way. So if a guy's a little tighter in his hips, he's going to look different than the guy that's looser in his hips.
Sure.
If a guy has longer arms, he's going to look a little different than the guy with shorter arms. So I look on the film, I don't want it can't look exact. The movements cannot look exact with every person. We're not cookie cutter. So we have a starting point on what we're teaching, and it's at all positions on our fields here. This is the starting point, and this is the ending point. So this is where we're going to start, and this is where we want to go. But now this journey we're going to take, it's going to change a little bit for each guy. So we're trying to maximize each person to take a defensive lineman and try to and show him Justin Smith tape or Isaac Sopoaga or Ray McDonald film and say, that's what I want you to look like. That's not going to happen. They weren't born with the same genetics.
Yeah.
So this is what I want the end result to be, and this is the criteria, but everybody's going to be just a little different. So that's the way I try to approach it.
Yeah, look, I always think, longer legs, wider hips, longer arms, shorter arms, long body, short legs, opposite, they're all going to be a little bit different, but ultimately the fundamentals, you want them to be able to function in that way, right? Yeah.
Yes.
In regards to your current team, the Rhein Fire, you have a couple guys that I think I know about 3 guys that is on your team that used to be play for the Düsseldorf Panthers when I was there.
Okay.
Is Rene, Flamour, and Max. Yeah. And now possibly there's somebody else that's on your team, but let's say how these guys doing? Because
they're all doing very well. And I'll tell you, Renee, I'm telling you, John, the coaches here all know of you. Okay, they spoke very, very kindly of you. I don't know if
enough money for it.
For you, when you were the head coach of the Panther.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Issa down at the Kenoten and the crew down there, they all know about you. Okay, you obviously handled yourself well in Dusseldorf because you've got a nice reputation here with the people. So they all know because I was speaking to Issa. I guess it was last week or something, talking about, hey, I'm going to get together with John, and I'm supposed to tell you hello. So, but yeah, we've got all the guys. We're excited about our group of players, and we are. But you're fully aware. I mean, a collection of talent doesn't mean a damn thing. Now we've got to do the teamwork and gel as a team and play together. And the most talented team doesn't win the championship. The best team wins the championship. Yeah. So that's where that potential word comes in. So we're in the middle of doing that right now. But the guys from the Panther, obviously, the Panther is Dusseldorf Panther is a storied franchise here. They've. It's been a wonderful club team, and so we have several guys from there. I didn't realize. I got to go back. I'm going to bring that up to the guys tonight. We have practice tonight, so I'm going to bring that up to the guys, tell them who I was with, and see who knows you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there might be some other guys that I don't know, but I remember those 3 guys that you guys signed, and Yeah, look, Renee was already with the Panthers, and Max and Flamu, they moved up from the junior team,
Yeah.
and but this was 2019, so they've had some valuable reps along the way, So
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoy
And Flamur went down, left Panther and went down. He was down uh,
Cologne.
in Cologne.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Look, I try to follow the league, obviously from halfway across the world, but you guys have recruited really well, right? And that's reflective in some of these, power rankings and what people think. Going on, what you said about, we need to become a team, not a collection of individual players. I know the answer, but like I feel I ask it anyway. Is anybody telling you what people think? And do you ever talk about that? What other people think, how good you're going to be, or stuff like that?
Well. I mean, you and I both know that that's always a part of this, and that's the slippery slope when you're in this thing where we're not only trying to build our team, but we're also trying to build our fan base. We're also trying to be an active member of the community that helps and does good things. So we're trying to become part of the fabric of our community here. So as that goes, so does media and social media and Facebook or whatever these things are. And for the record, I have never had an internet, what do you call them? A social media account in my life. Okay.
Yeah.
I know when I was in San Francisco, they used to shut down about 30 of them a week. And from what I hear from the guys here, I guess there's a few out there now. So anything you read on social media that has my name on the account, it's not me. So I have to tell the guys that too. And it really it blows my mind how big of a thing that is, and how people read these things and get self-worth or believe them. So I'm constantly talking about that because I think it's dangerous. If you if you if you make an opinion of yourself or you feel about yourself how people are talking about you in the media or talking about you on social media, good or bad, you're making a huge mistake in my mind. The guy that you got to look at, or the person you got to look at, is the one you see in the morning when you're brushing your teeth. Okay? That's the only one you're having the honest conversation with. So yeah, we are dealing with that some, and it has grown. You know, Dusseldorf. You know, the North Rhine-Westphalia. This whole state, the area, is crazy about American football. So
Sure.
we broke a lot of attendance records last year in our first year, and well over 12,000 some fans. And we're expecting that to grow pretty big this year. Okay, so with that, now the guys are walking through Dusseldorf, and people are stopping for a picture, and they've got to sign an autograph, and so those things are coming along with it. And I just let them all know. I said, look, when I start seeing the big balloons coming around your head, I'm going to walk around with a pin and I'm going to pop them all. Okay. There'll be one guy that's always going to tell you the truth. Okay. You're never as bad as they say you are, and you're never as good as they say you are.
That's right.
So we're managing that kind of stuff right now. And that is true. It's part of it, John. You know that. It goes into your mindset for practice, for what you're doing. Okay. I mean, all these people want to, hey, championship. They want to talk about a championship game and a championship trophy every day. Listen, we talk about it the very first day, the very first meeting. The first thing we talk about is, where is our destination? Well, we all need to know that. And it's the championship game, and it's holding a trophy. Every team in every league, in every sport, when they start, that's their goal. All right. So we understand that. we'll never talk about it again. We'll talk
Mm.
about the next minute. We'll talk about the next practice. We'll talk about the next opponent.
Yeah.
Because if we don't worry about taking the next step, then I mean, talking about going to a championship game, what the hell are you talking about?
Very long road.
Work that goes into getting to that. We got to worry about tonight's practice. Tell me about some championship trophy. Anyway, that's our mode, the way we go here.
Well, it comes with, as professional as the Elf wants to be and moving forward and all that kind of stuff. We're really talking about still amateur players who then need to adapt to a professional mindset of, all right, man, like, I don't care what anybody says. I got to believe in myself, and I got to believe that I can get better every day. And then at the end of the road, maybe if we all do that, we'll have a chance to get that at the end of the road, right? Again. So I always say this to teams is that, we don't have to win every game, but we just want to win the last game of the season. And it doesn't matter how you get there. There's in the NFL, there's teams, go the long way with the or make it a top seed or make it a, what you call it again? The NFL
getting to the wild card weekend.
Wild card. There you go. Yeah. And what the Buccaneers did that, the last time, wild card is the last way to get in and win a championship. So,
well, I'll tell you too, in the NFL, I mean, it's just getting to the dance, okay? And the dance starts wild card weekend. And the funny thing about wild card weekend, everybody wants to get a bye. They want to win their division and have a week off for the team, and that's the goal to get to the Super Bowl. All right, so that's what everybody's working for. But when you play a wild card game, you get an extra paycheck. So those guys that you're with the Buccaneers, you get an extra paycheck. The guys that get the bye week, they don't get that paycheck. So those guys made another paycheck. Again, that's the business of it. You know what I mean? But just get there. Just get there. Get to that part, and now let's roll. Because now all kind of crazy things happen.
That's right. That's right. Like if you can't make it to dance, it doesn't matter. Right? It's over and done with.
Right. That's right.
In your time in the NFL Europe, did you watch any amateur games like in Scotland or where you were? Yeah.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
so that's been a long time ago.
A funny thing. I showed up here to the Rhein Fire last year, and there was a player on Martin Pinner. He's one of our outside linebackers, good player, and a really nice guy. And Martin said to me, "We met a long time ago when I was a kid." And I said, "Okay." And I thought maybe, at the games, we'd always go out and see the kids and everything. And he said, "You were driving," and I remembered this. He said, "You were driving," and I remember I was in the car with my wife and the girls, and we were in Dusseldorf, and we used to, on Friday nights, we would jump in the car and go see something because, we were working all week. So Friday night, you had a little time with the family. Yeah. So we'd go get something to eat, and then we wanted to experience something in Dusseldorf. So we just drive. And we were driving, and we were in a car, and I looked over, and there was a school and a field, and there was a football team on the field, an American football team. Mm. And I went, wow, stopped the car, turned around, came back, and my wife and the girls, and we're looking, wow, there's an American football team playing football, and it's next to a school. Wait a minute, maybe it's a school team, or, because that's unheard of. Yeah. So we stopped, I got out, I went out, and the girls and Julie and I, we stood on the side there, and we were watching practice, and I mean, it was really going on, and coaches were coaching, and the kids were going, and we were just enjoying it, our family. And one of the coaches came over and said, "Coach, you're with the Rhein Fire?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, boy," So anyway, he gave me an opportunity to say hello to the players, and One of those players was Martin Pinter, who now, when I got here, is on our football team. He said, I remember that, coach. You were driving down the road and you stopped at our practice. So that it's a small world, man. You know,
That's correct.
but we would go. We've been to the Panther games. Last year, the Panther U19 team was in the championship, and they were playing the championship game at home. So we had practice that morning, and we took all the players. I called up. Timor called and checked in and found out how much tickets were. And so we bought the tickets, and we went over, took the team over, and put it on our website, and promoted the game. So we went over. It was a sold-out crowd. The Panther U19 won it. The next day, they were guests of ours at our home game. They sat up in the stands as a team, and we were able to announce them, and the fans all went crazy, because that's part of our homegrown team. That's one of us, part of the football deal, So we are right now. We have an area here within our coaching staff that we're working. Any GFL team, any club team, anybody associated with football, we are going to help in any way we can. We'll come to practice. We'll help with any of that. You're welcome to come to our practices, watch. And we do combines. We want to share all the combine information we have with all the GFL teams. Anything we can do to help grow, support, and any of these teams, we're going to do it. So that's what I don't get into the bureaucracy. I don't get into the leaders meeting, and that's somebody else's job. I'm a football coach. We're gonna deal with football guys and football players and football coaches, and so we're actively involved in that. That's to me, that's what this is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a natural thing, isn't it? A couple things. I think that school team that you're talking about, if my memory is correct, I think there's only one high school team in Germany or in Düsseldorf, and they play, in the league, in the local league. You know who started that team?
No, I don't.
You worked with him. I know maybe you haven't spoken to him yet. Sammy Smalley.
Sammy started that team. I've spoken to Sammy.
Yeah.
I didn't know Sammy started that team.
Yeah, we met up in 2019. He at the pub there, and we had a nice chat, and we talked about all that stuff. And I didn't know that before either, and he started that. So,
wow. I had no idea that Sammy. Sammy's a good football guy, man.
Yeah,
he really is. Sammy's married, got kids. I mean, Sammy's got a career going in sport, but not American football. But he's doing great. I've seen Sammy twice. I didn't know that. I gotta call Sammy now.
It's just like you said, it's a small world, and it's locally, and it's internationally, and it's worldwide. It's like you don't that's what is it? 6 degrees of separation is everywhere, man. Like it's unbelievable. Right, yeah. Right. But well, that's good to hear. But what do you think? What you saw on the field, back in the early 2000s and now, what's the difference? Is there a quality difference? What you see on the field?
Yeah, I think there's the game has definitely grown. It has. Everybody has spent time learning. You can see that the players. You've got players now that have been playing longer. So when we were doing, I remember my first years in London, 96 or 97. It was, you were always trying to get a crossover athlete. So somebody that was like Tom Tovo is a guy I'll use for an example. Tom Tovo, you remember Tovo?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Tovo, he's a British guy. He's from Southampton. And I met Tovo, he was 28 years old. And he had played 1 year of football, American football, maybe 2 years of American football. Mm-hmm. And so Tom played and he got a hold of the game pretty good. Now we're talking about a 6'4", 330-pound guy with Fijian roots, crazy athletic, built like a stone, and really the improvement he made within 2 years was incredible, and actually went to the Canadian Football League and was over there for, I think it was one season.
Right.
Had an injury, I think, and anyway, but Tom, if we would have had Tom when he was 18, Tom would have been in a National Football League. He had
no doubt.
He had all those things.
Yeah.
So that's what I see. That's the thing that I see happening now. We've got a couple of 20 and 21-year-olds on our football team that are really talented, but they've been playing football for 6 years. You know what I mean? So they've been on a field. They know how to put their helmet on. Remember, we teach guys how to strap the shoulder pads correctly. That kind of stuff. So we've got more of those people coming along where they have a little experience of the game. They're obviously using the internet to watch all these different YouTubes and anything they can grab to watch and learn about football. So I do see a big difference in the age and the experience that kids are having, and then the overall knowledge, because they're watching it more. It's becoming more popular.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree what you said there, because look, I remember when I started, there was no internet, there were no books on it, there was nothing. I couldn't get my hands on anything. Yeah. And now it's just, if you have a phone, you can get all the information you need, and it's all freely available. But like you said, also the kids start so much younger, and I think, with the coaching, local coaching is getting better. The kids start earlier. There's more information out there. The sport really, in comparison to the U.S., still has a long way to go outside the U.S. But, we're catching up in a hurry, I feel, too.
See, I agree. And I make comparisons in that area there with the way foosball, soccer, European football, growing in America. It's grown. It's there's a place for it. It doesn't compete with American football. It's not going to, but there's a place for it, and it fits in the fabric of the culture. It fits in professional sports. It fits all the way down to the youth leagues. So it fits. But to say it's competing with, it's not. And the other thing I say with that is, if you're in soccer and you're in America, to look back and compare that to Europe or South America or Australia or any of these other countries, you're crazy. That's apples and oranges. You can't compare that. But that's what I say coming here with American football. We're not competing with soccer. That's insane. We're not competing with those things, okay? What we're doing is we're saying we have something to offer. It's a game where people can join, and we have a place for everyone in our game. And come join us, be a part of something wonderful, be a part of a team, something bigger than you, and learn life lessons and what sport does. And that's the way our measuring stick is ourselves. And are we doing it right? And we can't, to me, the biggest thing we can't forget as we're growing the game of football. Everybody says, oh, you got to take care of the game. The game. We say the game. Oh, the game. Respect to the game. Honor the game. Love the game. Be passionate for the game. Okay, well, my next question is, what the hell is the game? Well, my answer to that question is, the game is the people. That's what the game is. The game's not lines in a playbook. The game's not schematics. Okay, that's not the game. The game is people. It's the people. No matter if it's the person giving you water, or it's the person fixing the helmet, or the guy playing offensive tackle, or the quarterback, or the coach, or the video guy, okay, or even the fan. That's the game. It's the people that make the game. So
Well said.
I think we can't forget that. We can get tied up. I mean, we're here in the Elf, and we're building, trying to build, and I think we are going to build successfully professional football here. Okay, but what our most precious resource that we have is the people. It's not the sled. It's not the getting another projector. It's not the painting the field all beautiful. Okay, it's not. Okay, if we have a couple extra dollars, okay, let's put that into people. Let's not put it into stuff. Let's keep this whole thing about the people, the humans, and football can be a tremendous sport, can be a tremendous vehicle for lessons and things that you want to do with people. Yeah. Now, John, you've coached all your life, okay? Don't tell me that you walk around and you're so proud of the damn play you designed, or the damn the helmet decal you made, or how you got 2 extra video machines to the Panther. Okay, when you're talking about football and you're doing things, you and I just started right here talking about it. And what the hell we talk about? Meeting in an airport.
Yeah,
and we talked about human stuff. We met in an airport. Okay. I remember having a beer with you. I didn't talk about, we got on the board. Remember, we were drawing up that defense. Get the hell out of here. That's not the game.
Yeah.
Okay. The game is the people.
Absolutely. There's another thing I wanna finish up with, Coach, because I know you got practice to get ready for and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, we got it. I'll miss everything. I'll sit here and talk to you all day.
The other thing happened too was at a Tampa National Camp, and Tony Allen, a good friend of ours and the guy that we freaking love, right?
And a hell of a football coach.
Also, and he said that he organized us to get together and work defensive line fundamentals.
Yeah,
and
I remember this.
And I must say, look, and I haven't really talked much about that experience, but I know for the first whatever minutes you're asking me a very basic question, and I was really, I was like this. I couldn't get my words out. I was intimidated in a way, not because of you. That has nothing to do with you, but you, man, this guy, look, I don't want to screw this up. That was in my head, and I couldn't get the words out. But look, I do say that too. That sometimes is like, you taught me a lot of stuff about playing defensive line. And
shit, John, thank you. That's a hell of a
lot. Look, I remember the bands. I remember everything. The chicken coops. I remember everything we talked about. And and I will remember our podcast here as well, Coach. So the other thing, and he's on your staff, Richard Kent. I also spend a lot of time. He's been very helpful and spend a lot of time with me. Getting me better. And so I know you guys got a great staff. You recruited really well. You have, look, at least part of the ownership. I know a little bit, Renee, who I also had a podcast with a couple of weeks ago. He's a great guy, and he has his heart in the right place. And I have no doubt you guys are going to put it together. So,
yeah, I'll tell you, our ownership group, I laughed at the beginning. I've been in, again, professional football. One owner is hard enough. Okay. And I come in here laughing. I met with the ownership group. We have 7 of them. Okay. So I sat down and I said exactly that. I said, whoa, one owner is a handful. I got 7 of you. This is nuts. And we all had a laugh, but I'll tell you from Renee, and listen, Renee knows football. He's a very successful businessman. Okay. All of our owners are very successful in their careers. Obviously, they own a football team. But they are passionate about this project. The questions I don't get money questions. I get questions on how are the kids? What can we do for them? How can we help them? Do we need another T-shirt? It's all those kind of things. And, we've had, just from simple things like our owners making sure they have a supplemental insurance to take care of guys. We had a quarterback injured last year. Our starting quarterback was injured. We had to bring in, it was an American. We brought in another quarterback. And so technically you have to cut the other you can only have 4 Americans. Yeah. So we had to cut our quarterback off the roster to bring in Jadrian Clark. And he stayed here. It wasn't a football related injury. He had I don't want to get into his personal business, but it was a little cyst he had to have removed. And our owners, I went to them and I said, what do we do? They said, well, does he want to go home and have it, or does he want to have the surgery here? And so I asked him, and he said, Matt said he wanted to have the surgery here. Our ownership kept his house for him and took care of him until the end of the year, like all the other players, because he was part of our team. Okay. Now that cost them money. And my point is, nobody ever asked me about the money. All they wanted to know was how was the young man doing? They're calling him, they touch him. I mean, we have a great group of owners. It's a great group of guys. And Renee, so the other guys are the same way. I mean, we really are. We're really lucky to have that group.
Yeah. So look, like I said about Renee, he has a great football background, and he's fucking smart as hell, and I know we're in 2019, we talk ball, coverage, like we're going over this stuff, and he was so fired up because he just got back to football a little bit as well. And he had a break from it, and hey,
buddy, we were at camp up in Vidal. Renee was sitting in a defensive meeting.
Yeah, of course.
Heck, he's in there. I see him, and I said, "Holy heck, that's an owner. He's in there taking notes. Like he's just so excited about the football, Yeah, it's nice. It really is.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me, Coach. Well, again, I could do this also for a few more hours. That really, we might have to do that.
Downstairs are going to kill me because I have a meeting with them. They're all waiting.
All right. I have to maybe in the future, but thanks again, and good luck in the season, Coach. And we'll stay in touch.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on. And I'd love to do it again if you had time. And I'd love to get together with you down in Australia. I would. And
got to find a way to make that happen.
Remember, man, anything we can do to help with anybody in that football family around the world, then we want to jump in and help. Okay.
Sounds good.
Much respect to you. I don't know if your viewers know how good of a damn football coach you are, and but an even better person. The way you care about kids, and the way that also always spoke volumes to me. The way you handled and treated people. I always thought it was first class, and I always thought you were an upfront, caring man, and really respect that.
Well, it's definitely good words to finish off with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
All right. We'll see each other, right?
Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.